Rachel from Troy, Vermont, and today we'll be baking Coconut Almond Cheesecake Delight. Before we begin baking, it's really important you have the right equipment. And one of those things is having a cheesecake pan where the bottom comes out. You could use a spring pan, but I haven't had as much success with those. The first step to making Almond Coconut Cheesecake Delight is the crust. So in a food processor, I placed 4 sheets of graham crackers with 4 tablespoons of sliced almonds. I then added a 1/4 cup of sugar. You blend that for a couple minutes and you've got your crust. Place that crust in a medium bowl with about a tablespoon of melted butter. Now you can always add more crust or less. You can add more butter or less. It depends on your preference, depending on how thick you really like that crust. So what you're going to do is you're going to just take your fork and you're going to gently press, and as you can see, the graham cracker is starting to crumble. And that's going to form a really nice base for our cheesecake. So just blend a little. It's not going to take you very long. I like a lot of crust. I like a thick crust. So I put in quite a bit of graham cracker. Alright. To tell if your crust is done, it's really important that you just take it in your hand and you feel it. And it should feel not too sticky, but it shouldn't crumble. And when you press it down with your finger, it should kind of create like a little layer. And that's when you know that you've got a good ratio of butter and crumbs. So all I need to do is, in my pan, I don't need to put oil or butter in my pan. It's all ready to go. I directly scrape my crust in. Okay. I'm going to spread it out, and then very gently, it's really important that you're not pressing too hard. You're going to gently press your crust down. It should look like something like this. Now that we have the crust at the bottom of the pan, we just need to place it in the freezer for about 10 minutes. While this is in the freezer, we're going to make the inside of our cheesecake. The most important ingredient in cheesecake, of course, is cream cheese. If you want a high-quality cheesecake, you need high-quality cream cheese. And the only place you're going to find that is in Philadelphia cream cheese. Now you can use original or low-fat depending on if you're watching your weight or not. What you need to do is take 10 ounces of cream cheese. I cube it, makes it easier to blend, and I place it in my mixer. Nice and easy. I then take 2 teaspoons of flour, add it in, about a 1/4 cup of sugar. And when I'm giving you measurements, I just want you to realize that I don't really measure anything out. It's more like heaps. About a teaspoon of imitation coconut and 2 whole eggs. You're going to put this in your blender and you're going to blend until it's mixed well. Once your ingredients are mixed, you're now going to add some of the most important ingredients, and that's coconut milk. Now, coconut milk, when you find it in a can, it tends to be solidified on the top and liquid on the bottom. So you're going to have to open up the can, take out the ingredients, and remix them so that it, once again, makes this milky color. You're going to place that in. You're going to let that blend just enough so that it's evenly blended throughout your mixture. Now that your coconut milk and your other ingredients have been blended, you're going to add about 1/3 to 1/4 of a cup, maybe more depending on how much you really like coconut, shaved coconut into your mixture, your batter. You're just going to gently mix this. Now that all of your ingredients have been blended, get out your crust from your freezer. If you touch it, it should be firm, not solid, so that it's hard, but firm when you press down on it and cold. You're going to take your inside batter and you're just going to carefully pour it into your container. It's important that you don't fill it to the top. If you do, your cheesecake will spill over when you're baking. You're going to want to leave about 1/4 of an inch or more for the cheesecake to rise when it goes into the oven. So now that you've done this, you just need to place it in the oven for 35 minutes at 375 degrees. And then you will have your cheesecake. After the 35 minutes, you should take your cheesecake out. It should be this golden brown color, and I can't describe how heavenly the scent is right now. It kind of smells like a tropical island. Now that your cheesecake is cooked, you can put it in the freezer until you're ready to serve it. While your cheesecake is cooling, you're going to make a chocolate topping for the cheesecake. To do this, all you're going to do is take milk chocolate morsels, place them in a microwave-safe container with a little bit of shortening. You're going to place this in the microwave for about a minute. You're going to want to watch it, and once the morsels start to melt, you're going to take it out and then mix it with a spoon. So as you can see, I've melted my morsels and my shortening in the microwave, and so I just need to take a spoon and briskly stir, and this stirring action will help the rest of the morsels melt. Once your cheesecake has cooled, you're ready to now add the garnish, and this is what really makes this cheesecake wonderful. It can be served plain, but I really like to fancy it up. And the way that I do that is I take an egg white and I beat it rapidly. I then take a pastry brush and I just brush along the sides of the cheesecake. This kind of creates some sort of adhesive. And I take shaved almonds and I just place them. And now it doesn't have to look perfect, because when it's random looking, it actually looks really nice. I do this along the entire side of the cheesecake. Now that your cheesecake has the almonds surrounding it, you're going to put your hot sauce, your hot chocolate, on top. How much you put on depends on how much you like chocolate. I love chocolate, so I tend to put a little extra. So you just carefully scoop it on top. It's very easy. It doesn't have to look perfect. I mean, that's the purpose of this cake. It looks gourmet, but it's very easy and nothing has to be precise. And you just move the chocolate on top. Some of it's going to fall off the edge. That's okay. And then to give it a little more character, you're going to take some shaved coconut that you had from earlier, and you're just going to surround your cake. Put in a nice little bed of coconut. Now that you have your coconut and almond garnish, you can add just a little pop of color by adding some fresh clipped greenery. Particularly since this dish reminds me of the tropics, I like to have a little bit of color. Now your dessert is ready to be served. You have almond coconut cheesecake delight. I want to thank Paula Deen and Philadelphia cream cheese. This recipe wouldn't be possible without both of them.